Hey everyone! I did not post that we were live, even though I said we were ready. It's episode. Wait,
I'll do it.
It's episode 99.
we are live with Ultra Podcast Z. I'll put a little thingy before that.
Okay, you are tweeting it. Never mind.
Wait, it shows you instead of me. Wait, should I turn my webcam on?
Yes.
Yeah, you should probably turn it on. You're probably gonna ruin. Actually, you won't ruin everything, I think. But you should probably have turned it on before we started. But there you go.
No, it automatically readjusts.
Are we good now?
Yes, we're good.
There we go. Oh, you're wearing a Dragon Force shirt.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What's up? There was it's Ada J's it's Ada. Sorry, I'm reading the subtitles and it's getting everything wrong and it's just making me laugh. It's Ada J's 8th anniversary. Isn't that fucking insane, Snakz?
That is actually insane. 8 years, huh? 8 whole years.
8 whole
2014.
years.
God damn.
Yeah, and okay. Now
God.
It's funny because I have notes about what I want to talk about. Sorry, guys, I'm actually still sharing the thing, so I'm kind of absent-minded on it.
As opposed to your usual full attention.
Yeah.
I'm very boomer in that, like, I can't multitask. There it goes. Okay, I'm ready now. But yeah.
Here.
So Ada J has a somewhat. This is the very, very crash course version. I don't feel like doing the whole thing. Ada J has a very weird history. Like, it formed in the summer of 2014. And it's funny because I've never properly told this part. So we were a collection of other sites. That was the whole idea. Like, oh, we're going to be a collection of blogs, and like there technically would never. Maybe somewhere down the line, if we pulled enough money together, we would have adajconnections.com, and that would be like so and so's music blog, so and so's food blog, so and so's like idol blog, and me and my then girlfriend were going to do like the idol stuff. And so our part of the site, or actually eventually just mine, because we broke up not long after all this, was actually on Tumblr. So Ada J's very first origins were on Tumblr. And no, not the Ada J Connections Tumblr that's still there now, which is not barely used.
For it?
Yeah, no, the one that we ran, I deleted it when Ada J proper really got off the ground because I was kind of embarrassed about it. And then eventually we started one for real, and then Rose used to run it. It's mad defunct now, but that is different. But yeah, we were a Tumblr. But no, and then some bullshit happened, and in November we launched the site, and now here we are. But this fucker over here, Snakz, has been circling around, involved in some way ever since then. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, dude. I've been like back and forth, up and down, all over the place.
Yeah,
can't keep me down.
We have the running joke that Snakz is like the you say it yourself the longest time. You're like, what the hell? I'm generation 1. I'm first gen member.
Yeah, first generation member. Yeah, without ever really contributing anything. I was just always there. I'm just always there.
It was funny because like in the early days, like I don't even like. I'll be real. When all these other blog leaders idea fell through, it's like, okay, yes, I guess Manuel's gonna figure this out with his friends. I was basically just getting like-minded people like, hey, you want to be part of AJ Connections? Hey, you want to be part of AJ Connections? So there were a lot of questionable articles we did back then. There were a lot of people that were part of us that never did anything. There were a lot of people. There were a lot of panels that we did where like it was an AJ panel, but it was really just some not random, but it's like a friend of ours who was doing it as AJ. And I don't mean like when Callie did her VTuber panel at PMX. I mean like somebody far less connected. I don't know. Yeah. It was some weird times, wasn't it, Snakz?
It was some weird times. I feel like pretty much anybody who was anybody was like, yeah, let me join, or yeah, we'll let you join, and you got us, and then they'd come on and literally not do anything. You know?
Yeah, so. Like, and don't get me wrong, there's a bit of that here and there now, but it's a lot more trimmed than it used to be. There was a point when I'd be like, oh, there's like 30 of us, and I'm like, yeah, if you start counting everyone who just says they are.
Yeah.
Those are some wonky days.
It was like, yeah, dude, I'm a part of that. and I get it for free, and I just act obnoxious.
It's funny because like I think the very first time I met you was at the it definitely was a Tune in Tokyo event, I think, but I
It
can't remember
was
which one it was.
it was at the it was either this one or a different one. It was the one at the Santa Monica Pier Boardwalk,
There you go. That's the
and
one I was thinking about too.
Greg was DJing. May J. It was Jay Mello.
Yes, there you go.
Remember when Jay Mello used to be on TV? I think May J, the singer, was supposed to be there, but she just never went. So I didn't even know Jay Mello like hosted events like that. It was actually kind of crazy.
No, I think that was a
Finding that out.
one-off. Yeah, I think it was a one-off. I remember like they didn't sell tickets; they gave them away, and
Yeah,
like I remember A to J had no site. I think at this point, for fun fact, we were a Tumblr blog, so like I submitted for A to J like this is October, September, I can't remember exactly of or August. Actually, I think it was August of 2014, and they denied us. So like the only way you got a ticket was by like like kind of like joining a contest. You have to be like, oh, tell us why you want to come, because the Takashi I was there, and if you remember, like X Money
that's
Musume.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So I joined and I won, and I think you like knew Greg better than I did because you guys were like on Greg's list. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know how it even happened or anything like that. I think that I was just literally showing up to everything that he was doing at the time or something. I don't remember, but yeah, I just somehow I it's crazy. I literally somehow ended up in there.
Rest in
It's
peace, Greg Hignite, by the way. That's
yeah, it's very sad. Like
he
extremely sad. I don't know. I'm sure it's none of our business how it happened, but man, that's
he hosted so many events back then, and like I said, like it's funny because the other event that I was kind of confusing whether I met you at that one, the J Mello one, or not. The other event was definitely a Tune in Tokyo, and it was that one in Koreatown that was at the art exhibit where
yeah. Hmm.
I can't remember that DJ guy. I can't remember his name. Shit. There was this.
I think there was
There was several, but there was one guy. I can't remember his name. He was like, "Oh, it's so and so," and I actually wanted to see him live, and he was performing at this little art exhibit thing.
was it like Meishi Smile or something? Or
There
was it
you
someone
go. It
else?
was Meishi Smile. It was Meishi Smile.
There was someone, dude. There was like good ass
Yeah.
freaking artists that night. Like at the time, because it was like the YSTK sign and stuff like that they had, and it was like I was like, oh, Yashitaka, they're gonna play some of his music, but like I didn't know that they didn't really play some of his music, so I was being obnoxious in the crowd and being like, "Play this song, play this capsule song. Like, why aren't you guys playing this damn song? I thought this gallery was supposed to be dedicated to him. Play this."
Oh
I
my
was,
god.
oh, dude, I got so many dirty looks, dude. I just didn't know any better. I legitimately didn't know that this, like, you know, I was
I
just like,
kind of remember that actually.
yeah, and I wasn't even like in the back. Like I was in front of the DJ yelling that.
Well,
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, I
that
was.
ve-
Oh my goodness.
that venue, it was literally an art exhibit. It was really small.
It was
Not to
tiny.
say not to say that
It's kinda hot in
like,
there too.
yeah, it was this narrow little venue. So like when he says even if he was in the back would have been like 20, 30 feet away at most.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we were like right, like I think I was like leaning on the thing they were using as a stage. It was like this little like it was a counter, but
Yeah, I remember the counter, yeah.
but I was like on the counter and I was like, oh, this is and it was funny because like people were leaving like their flyers there. Like I don't know if you were really allowed, but I remember like Paprika
Mhm.
Mari was there and she's like, "Oh, people are leaving their shit because Stephanie Yanez did." And then
Yeah.
Paprika Mari like runs to her car and gets some stickers or whatever and puts them down because she was part of this other band back in the day. And then like everyone else was doing it, like other random DJs, and I'm like, "Hey!" So I had some A to J flyers. We actually had flyers back then. I just like slid them on the thing. I was like, hey. Probably all got thrown away. I don't know, but
Stephanie Inez. She
oh
was
man, this
talking
is.
quite a bit that time. I was like, "What does this mean?" I was like, "Let me walk away."
uh Stephanie, I love Stephanie Yanez. It's funny because like we make this joke about Snakz all the time that he meets a lot of people for the first time multiple times.
Yeah.
Stephanie Yanez has met me for the well, mind you, we've definitely known each other since like 2015 or so. But we met each other for the first time like 4 or 5 times too, like before that. Eventually, when like I was getting more involved in the convention scene, she remembered who I was, that kind of thing. But yeah, like I'd seen her live. I didn't know who she was and remember her name, but she won the AX Idol, which she always talks about. But she won the AX Idol, if I'm not mistaken. That was the year that Sunku was judging it. So
Shit, that must have. What the hell?
yeah, so that was a really good credit, by the way. If Sunku, especially doesn't mention that part, by the way, for those who don't know, Sunku used to manage Morning Musume, Q, like every Holo Project artist.
Yeah,
So
like holy smokes! What the heck? AX?
Yeah, that was 2009. 2009. Yeah, 2009. Morning Musume was there. He was there. He was supposed to be there, but like he had a panel somehow, and just randomly he judged the EX Idol contest. He only had that for like 2 or 3 years, and he judged it that year that he was there. And I went to it just to see him because I was that much of a a fan. And also AX was a lot smaller back then.
Well,
so you could just
hold on. It says that she won the contest in 2004.
Hey, they didn't have it in 2004.
This article is from 2009. It says how Stephanie Inez became an Akihabara cosplay idol, and then they mentioned Tune in Tokyo.
Maybe she was there. I should probably confirm this with her, but she was definitely there, and maybe she performed the halftime. That's what I'm confusing it with, because that was the very first time I'd seen her.
Posture check.
I didn't know.
She's talking about Otage in this thing too, and talking about K-On! And what the hell? It's some LA Weekly shit.
In 2010 was the year. Oh, my back. Posture check. In 2010 was the year that she was at that Club to the Max event. Yeah, Mono Arena was there. X Japan were there. It was like this like bootleg side con that they had.
I think I was too young to go. I was probably like,
you went to a lot of shit if you were too young.
Yeah. I think I was 17. Yeah, I probably just didn't go.
X Japan had it's funny because like they weren't at AX, they were at this separate like rival con, quote unquote con, that just rented out Club Nokia. And X Japan was there, like X Japan, Mono Arena, and then Stephanie Inez had a concert. I think there was other people there too, but that was when she debuted that Miku thing, like the Miku World or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called exactly. Go check that song out. She was one of the first people who collaborated with Miku. I put quotation marks because you could just license it, but that was back in the day before people weren't doing that as common, especially in English speaking stuff. So yeah, apparently this Stephanie is like hour here, but
yeah.
But yeah, there was some other good events. I remember I have in the notes, and I really wanted to talk about this. Rockstars. Oh, were you at the X Japan event, Leslie, where they were filming Born to Be Free, and they just fucking did the song like 10 times over and over, and that fucking album is still not out.
That's the same thing to like when Kiss came with Momoro Clover, and they played the fucking Kiss song 5 different times.
No. You know what pissed me off about? Thanks for bringing that up.
He showed up, accepted an award, and he left. He specifically set this shit up so that he can accept an award and leave.
So in 2015, at AX, Momoro Clover were the guests, and Kiss were guests, and they had a concert together at the Nokia Theater, which I think was still Nokia back then. It
was the
well, it wasn't Microsoft yet. I think it doesn't matter. The place is Microsoft Theater now.
Oh yeah, the Nokia Theater.
So
the Nokia Club, Nokia Theater.
So it was there, and all over the marquee, it's like Kiss, Momoro Clover. And I think it was even Kiss in bigger letters.
Yeah.
And you go inside and you go to this fucking concert. And first of all, it wasn't Kiss. It was Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley. Paul Stanley. Sorry, not Ace Frehley. It was Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, the two main people, obviously, with no makeup. Just showing up to do the award. I think at the beginning, and they did not play a song. They did not touch an instrument.
Nothing.
It was so obnoxious. I was like, oh, that was such a bait and switch. And I think I paid for that ticket too.
Yeah, I was sitting next to Tipu. I think where we were sitting costed like $70. I was way in the fucking back, dude. I was
was,
damn.
that was the concert. Do you remember Dave? I don't know if you remember Dave, like the really tall Dave dude who was like from Texas, who like is a doctor or whatever the heck. What the fuck's his name? The DLJ, the guy who used to run NSK, New School Kaidan for a while. Well, anyways,
Yeah, Dave,
I'm
the glass, right?
so I'm pretty sure. So I had an extra VIP ticket for Momoro Clover. I don't know why I had to, but I had an extra VIP ticket, and I was trying to sell it. I'm like, oh my god, nobody wants to buy this. And he eventually like, oh, I'll get it from you. And he's like, how much do you want for it? And I was like, oh, and I charged him the face value like the night before, and I didn't think anything of it. And he came and we had a good time. He had to sit next to me, obviously, because we're at the VIP thingy, and no one else was there. So we're partying it out, Momoro Clover. And years later, like he was on a UPZ. Fun fact, I think he was on a UPZ for a different anniversary, like the 4th anniversary. And he showed up and he's all like, Manuel. And this is like live on air. I was trying to find the episode. I mean, I'll even clip it, try to put it here. He's like, Manuel, I wanted to let you know, like we were almost done with the episode. He's like, for years I didn't like you. And I'm like, why? And I thought he was gonna say some bullshit about something something more crazy. He's like, when I went to the moment when I bought that VIP ticket, I felt like you shouldn't have sold it to me for face value the night before.
Oh.
He's like, I should have cut him a deal.
Yeah.
I kind of should have. The ticket was like $70, $80. And he's like, you should have cut me a deal because I had to leave my friends. I had to come sit up there. And sure we were up front, but it was still like, and I'm like, why didn't you say anything? You could have said, no, I'll give you 50. No, I'll give you 20. Something.
Right.
Or just no. But yeah. And he said that he felt like, I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, those are my memories from that Momoro Clover concert. That Kiss wasn't actually there, and that apparently David hated me for years.
For years.
From 2015
charging
up
him
until
$70 for a concert ticket.
Whatever. I mean, not whatever. Apparently, he was upset. I don't want to whatever his. He should have said something, but my bad.
Of course, should have said something.
This is why I don't go to concerts anymore.
Good times.
But no, I wanted to talk about Fanime 2015 because that was it might actually, I'm sure it wasn't the very first convention where we were like doing stuff together. Remember ALA 2015? Do you remember that convention? Because like
vaguely, I remember. Hold on, I remember that you guys had ribbons to give out.
There you go.
And I still have that. I still have that ribbon. It was it was from like the Idol panel or something.
Yep.
You guys were giving out ribbons. Yeah, I remember.
As a quick little aside, if you want to make ribbons for ALA this year, they're like $50 plus for 100 ribbons. And I'm like, what the fuck? When I made those 100 ribbons, mind you, this was 5 or 6 years ago, but when I made those 100 ribbons, they were like 20 something dollars. And I even checked in other years when we were gonna there was one year where I was gonna do like 4 different designs and it was gonna be about $100, but like for 4 different designs. So I'm like, what happened? Like, talk about freaking inflation. Apparently, those ticket fucking ribbon prices doubled. But yeah, it's insane. Just FYI, in case you want to look into ribbons, that's as cheap as they get. I think not that everyone should go flood her emails. I think Callie has a machine. I'm like, can you do for less than 50? Like, I'll still pay you, but
Yeah.
But
I just don't. Don't charge us $80 face value the night before. Hey.
Like me. Don't be Manuel. No, but that was the year when I was still working for PMX. Fun fact, I don't know if everyone knew that. I said like for a year plus, I was like on PMX's promo team, and that's actually how I managed to go to a lot of those conventions the early days. And sneak in, quote unquote, and get some press things.
They used one of the photos I took for them and never credited me.
That's what I was going to mention. Yes. You were carrying around a Nendo from who the fuck was that? It was Kill la Kill.
Yeah.
And they took it. You posed that picture, and they shared it to all their shit. And all these like didn't give you shit.
They didn't tell me shit. You were just like, wait a second, why don't you try to promo this? And I was like, okay, for sure, I'm gonna get something out of it, right? I took a photo, nice. nice photo and stuff like that. Get it all prepped up, and then I took the photo, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this is an excellent photo," and then nothing.
That's kind of sad, and we were like I said, we were giving out tons of them. But our whole point along the whole little promo trip was to like promote things, give away prices, and give away badges for PMX. You didn't even get that. That's the funny thing.
You know the funny thing about the PMX that year, I believe that was probably 2014 or 2015. I don't remember. I snuck into that convention. I mean, I can say that now. I did actually, yeah. I think that it was because they didn't something for the photo. I don't remember, but I literally just walked in.
You, well, to be fair, I don't want to. I don't want to condone this at all.
Yeah,
But
we don't condone this kind of stuff.
Sneaking into conventions, also rest in peace. But like, it wasn't until the whole Jason David Frank thing happened at Phoenix Comic Con, where like that dude threatened his life. I don't know if everyone knows that story, but go look it up if you want more details. That it wasn't until after that where cons were actually more hardcore on security.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all those AXs that we mentioned, until that happened, we could just walk in and out. I used to know the door, and mind you, I didn't do this. I didn't have a badge, but I used to know the doors to come into that never had a line. Not that they ever really had a line, but like you could just get into like that. Because they were the back checks, but yeah.
Some of those entrances still do that. I mean, some of them still, tried and true. Shit, I've done it. Yeah, what was it this year? AX. I went to Old Faithful, a couple of those doors, and I was in there. Like,
yeah, it's funny because I don't want to I don't want to call attention to the doors because if Snakz is still there, I don't want to get people doing it. But I think we know the same doors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's the same set of doors that are always open, and they're not hard to get to, but they are out of the way. Oh man.
Oh nope. I just like I never left. I was like, remember me?
Why did you put the disclaimer of JDD talk about drinking? I haven't mentioned any drinking.
No, I was just hoping it was the general disclaimer rather than the drinking one.
Oh, about
the general disclaimer.
Yeah, these are just our views and opinions, not the views and opinions of AJ Connections or its partners. But,
exactly, or its partners or sponsors. Or, yeah.
Though that ALA panel was actually the PMX Idol panel was the very first panel, but that one was weird, and I was very confused and awkward. And then I think I also did it at Otakon Vegas, and that was whatever. But the very first one that matters was the one at ALA, and you went to that one. That was ALA 2015, the year when PMX stole your photo. But
yeah, I remember. I was there.
That was a pretty good panel. It was me, Bridget, and Wilson. Wilson? No, not Wilson. What's that dude's name? He thanked you for introducing him to his wife. What's his name?
Oh, Nathan.
Nathan. There you go. Wilson was at the Fanime one.
Yeah.
Wilson was at the Fanime one with me and Molly. Those are good. Those were good panels. I remember like that first year, we had a thing. I don't know if you remember the Snakz. It was called the Road to AX, where we wanted to panel at AX. That was our goal.
Yeah, and then you guys went to. Okay, hold on. Let me remember this. It was. I can't remember if Anime Kanji was still around at the time. I don't remember if you guys went to that. But
it was Hanadoki.
I was getting to that.
Okay.
It was ALA, Hanadoki, Kraken Con, maybe?
Yep.
Sec Anime, probably. ALA, Fanime, and then I think Otakon Vegas and then AX or something like that.
Yep.
I think. Right.
That was the road. That was the road to AX, and like because AX technically, like, I don't know how strict they are on panels these days. I don't think they ever really were. It's just stuff they would say that I just believed. But they mentioned, they weren't taking like panelists unless you had like a panel history. So I was like, if we panel at every convention that I go to because of PMX, they'll let us in. And they actually, to be fair, I still don't know if they would have taken the panel. It was one of the many things where it's kind of who you know. And I knew someone who knew someone like staff wise, and they were able to like email them directly. I was like, oh, that panel, yeah, I'll make sure it gets accepted, and they accepted it. And
I don't think you did, but did you ever have a panel at TohoCon?
No, I'm glad I never went to TohoCon. That was one of the conventions, and I'm always scared. Like I was scared about this when PMX was happening. Not that I think this would have happened, but like TohoCon was one of the cons where like a lot of people who were like staffers or whatever, like or any kind of guest or anyone that like was staying for free but had a credit card info on file were charged tons of money because the convention like ran away with shit. So I'm always scared. I'm always scared whenever we guest at a thing and they're paying us in like a hotel or something. I don't know if I should have said that. That's what we did for PMX. But anyways, but I'm always scared when that happens because you still have to put a credit card down for incidentals. So I'm always scared that the convention will like just cut and run, and then just like, well, someone's paying, and then just start charging everyone who had credit cards there.
Yeah. Yeah, I staffed that convention actually. I think I tried to follow you guys on the road to AX, but I was like, I can't afford none of this. I got to staff at every single one of the conventions, but I could only do like 5 of them.
We're staffing at Fanime that year. We went to it.
I
was about to say, like, I remember you specifically. You were staff. I forgot what the hell you were doing, but you were staffing.
Swap mate.
Yeah.
Swap mate.
Oh, good times. I remember.
Yeah.
No, like I mentioned. Honestly, that's how a lot of the A to J early stuff happened because, like, when I was doing the tables for PMX, it got me an industry badge. So there were many, a few of the. I can't even remember what our first interviews were. Some of our earliest interviews were because I just used the industry badge to get into places and ask people, you know. Oh, Snakz is disappearing. But yeah, there was I think our earliest interview was with Chi Sakurabi, who I think still performs today, but she was a lot more active back then. She was like a Stephanie Yanez type idol singer. Remember her?
Who are you talking about?
Chi Sakurabi.
I remember her. Yeah, she disappeared.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, like, I think she did an album sometime during the pandemic, but even then, like, that was the first thing she'd really talked about for years. I was supposed to do background dancing. Oh, really? Leslie was supposed to do background dancing for her. That's an interesting story.
Manifest. I forget this thing. This thing exists. She's gonna be there apparently.
Who? Chi?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I didn't know
she was there. Chi Sakurabi, 2011.
Yeah, I didn't, like I said, she used to be around a lot back in the day, and then I don't know. You missed the line. Yeah, I missed the cue. Oh, she missed the cue, as in like her dance cue. Also, I want to get a panel at AX again this year. Well, again this year, like we always done it. Fun fact: we never paneled at AX since that first year. Not so much because we never submitted. We actually never submitted. Not because we got declined. I meant to say because we never submitted. Because after that first year, we didn't have as much time. Like, because we interviewed C-ute in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Were you there? You didn't go to that concert in Mexico. You went to all the others, but not to that first C-ute one.
Yeah, I went to the second one. That was that's the 2017 one. I was like, I have the poster right here. I can go look at it, but that was the 2017 one. Yeah, I didn't go to 2015 one.
Yeah, they were in Mexico, and I remember like that was probably the start. That I like to think of that as the true start of like new or is in current A to J connections, because that first year was just yeah that first modern era that's still lasting now. But yeah, that first year was just a fuck shit thing. But because when we went to Mexico, me and Tipu and some of the then high ups at A to J Connections, like Molly, for example, we were all like, we need to interview them. I don't know how, but we need to interview them.
Your team Mexico. Yeah.
So like, we used to run this idol group called Kaifu. Remember Kaifu?
Yeah.
We used to run this Facebook group called Kaifu that was California Idol Fans United. I don't know why I thought that was a funny acronym to do, but Haifu, and
Haifu.
I posted in there like, "Hey, who's going to the Mexico show, and who can help us with the interview?" I think I even said that just straight up. Who can help us with the interview? Who speaks Japanese? I should say. And then Tiffany answered, and Tiffany's like, "Oh, I'm going," and I'm like, "Hey, you want to do an interview for us?" And like baby Tiffany, who never really I didn't know this, but it turned out that she had helped. The fuck's that convention's name? The convention that. Do you remember that girl who like from Upfront? She also had a solo career. She was part of she's part of Milky Way. Hold on, Milky Way Hollow Project members. Hold on, project members. Kusumi Haru. It was the mother girl, and it was her. Kikaru.
She had a convention out here.
She appeared at a bunch of conventions when she was only around for a few years, I think, when she was active. Kikaru, she was at a convention in NorCal. I forgot what the fuck it was called. And Tiffany apparently, because the con was so small and kind of weirdly run, Tiffany was like helping out with like the maid cafe, I think, back then. And it's like, "Oh, you speak Japanese? Can you help us translate for her?" Because apparently like nobody was there who could do it for her. I didn't know that at the time, but so I contacted Tiffany. I'm like, "Hey, you want to help us with this cute interview?" And we get down to Mexico. We have no idea who the fuck to talk to. I just bluffed. I bluffed my way through it all. We all bluffed our way through it all. I made a good first impression with that Hollow Project rep guy, and the rest is history. It's funny because I made a good impression with him. But when we interviewed the group, it was at this hotel in Mexico, this nice ass hotel, like nicer than the one we were staying at. And we get there. And we get there, and first of all, everyone thinks we're like from Mexico because they're like, they had their own translator. Like, no, we're actually from America because, like, we're gonna English and Japanese only. We don't speak Spanish, unfortunately, in our little group. And ironically enough, and they're like, "Oh," and everyone was so nice until we get into the room, and they were the actual managers for the group. They did not like us much. I don't think it was a bad first impression. I just think that like they were just I've never had this in any other interview ever. So I just think we had a really bad luck that first time that we had such stern managers.
I mean, they were pretty big time, right?
They were huge. And at the time, they were arguably bigger than Morning Musume. Or just as big, if not bigger. They were just as big. They were both doing like similar scale events and releases.
Oh, yeah.
So, mind you, this was a huge score, and maybe they had checked the site before we walked up there because the site was even messier than it was now. Go to the Wayback Machine and look the way it used to look in 2015. It's not pretty, and they gave us this interview, and it was good. The interview did well, and it obviously did numbers, and it was our first big thing. And it proved that like if we just bluff our way through everything, we can not bluff. Just talk our way through everything. We didn't talk our way through everything. Yeah, we did. We didn't lie. We might have stretched the truth about like what our reach was at the time, but everything was correct. And yeah, if you want to see our recent interview, JD and Sylvia interviewed Demon Dice. Nice little plug. It's doing nice numbers on Twitter right now.
That's good.
It's funny that we mentioned that because the cute interview. I don't think we had a Twitter yet when we did that one. I don't think we had a Twitter yet, or we made it but weren't using it. So all the numbers I mentioned it did were on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and the.
I'm trying to see when the A to J Twitter was created. Who doesn't lie about their reach? Exactly, we all lie. A Peruvian, Mexican, and a Puerto Rican walk into an A to J bar. There was this one part.
Manuel?
Huh?
The answer to your question is January 2015.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I think that was the same time we created the YouTube channel, which also was not used.
So you did have the Twitter thing, because the concert had to have been in April, right?
I don't think we tweeted about it. I could probably check that later. I don't know if I checked that right now, but I don't think we tweeted about it. A to J info. I think that we changed our handle at one point because there is an A to J Connections, by the way. Like I don't know who the fuck it is. Maybe they're gone. And I should take it real fast. But there used to be an A to J Connections that we're taking. That's why we're A to J Info, by the way. Which I don't know if there's a better way to have done that. The only reason I called it A to J Info. Remember Xenon?
I remember Xenon. Yeah.
That was that VK-ish store that was in Little Tokyo for 2 years or so. Their Twitter was Zenon Info. So I just thought that was a funny thing to do, _info. So if anyone ever wondered, if anyone ever was wondering why is A to J info, it's because I thought that's what the cool kids did.
Oh gosh.
And that just shows how much of a boomer he is.
Exactly. We should probably change that. Well, it's too late to change it now. I feel like it would ruin things. Like, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that kill links and things? But it's not like we're that big. We should just change it. But anyways, taking suggestions.
Okay, A to J connections without the hyphens isn't taken.
Oh, it isn't. Oh, Snakz. I'm pretty sure you were in all those group chats in the early days. Remember all the arguments about the hyphens and the capital T?
Yeah.
We literally fought so hard. And mind you, I was the capital T guy.
I think what it was because it was like it doesn't sound good or it doesn't look good with the hyphens and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean it's kind of true, right? Never really
I
did anything
agree.
about that. Just sort of let it happen.
By the way, we own that's not a squatter site. We haven't figured out how to link it because I don't think we have the proper hosting for it. We own a2jconnections.com with no hyphens. But the site is a-2-j, which I thought was a clever thing I thought all this shit was clever to do.
A2J, yeah.
I don't know why. I really don't know. I don't know what was going through my head. I would never do that again.
Yeah.
But also the capital T. I don't know why. To be honest, I liked it in all caps. Like, it's a very Japanese thing to do, to have like a certain way to spell something. I'm sure you see this all the time, Snakz, where it's all like the way whack, the corporation whack always has a lowercase I no matter what they're doing.
Yes.
And everything else is in caps but the I's. There's a lot of other things, like X Japan, for example, their name is supposed to be in all caps. And we've gotten notes from artists like, oh, you're doing this wrong. It's like, it's supposed to be like this, all caps and one lowercase, or this is capitalized and the rest is all lowercase. So I thought it'd be clever to do all A to J, like all uppercase. But at some point that stopped being the case. And then I was like, we need the capital T. And if you notice, we don't have the capital T anymore. So I lost that fight that I was going on for about a year.
Yep. Hyphens now.
Like demon
A-2-
hyphens underscores
A-2- all caps.
I've never gained any weird all caps. Really? I get that. Well, do you send things back for review? Because I get those all the time. I don't know if like I'm not going to name names. Why name X Japan? But like I won't name any other names. But I've been told many a time, and sometimes they change it. Like Duran Gray, there's this band called Duran Gray. When I was a kid, you spelled the name D, capital D, and the rest of it's in lowercase. Like Duran Gray, it's 3 words, but like the rest of it's all lowercase. And then I thought that's the way you still spelled it. And there was a point where we did something for them and we got an email back. And it's like, no, their name's in all caps. And I'm like,
yeah, they probably changed it. It's too easy for people.
So FYI, if you ever write about Duran Gray Terrence, apparently it's all, well, maybe it's changed again. This is like 2016 when they gave me those notes. Miyavi's also in all caps. We interviewed Miyavi too, and I'm like, to be honest, it's not that they like ever got back to us to do it. They have a couple times, but a lot of times they'll just specify like in the notes that this is the way they spell it and so on like that. But yeah, Fanime 2015 was wild because that was the one that we technically, I mentioned this before we went live. Snakz apparently does not remember this. We went to go see Hello Musume, and I remember they started doing Taiki Bansei, which was the then new Anjuramu song.
Taiki Bansei, yeah.
And everyone that is like A to J current basically is in that group on stage, and I think we actually, not to say not to say like we didn't think the performance was good, but I think we actually left during the song. Well, we listened to that song, then we left when it was done. We didn't stay for that whole show. But if we paid attention, because I took some pictures of the group when they were performing, and they didn't even film that song. I should look that up and maybe publish it if I still have the video.
Well, the 2016 video is up, but nothing from 2015.
Yeah, because by 2016 we knew everyone, but 2015, like Angie was there, Tiffany was there, Marjorie was there, Claire were there, like all these other AJ people.
From the thumbnail, looks like they're doing Tiki Boon because they got the thing on there. Yeah.
But by 2016, obviously I mentioned we talked to Tiffany and she was doing she did the cute interview with us. And for those who don't know, Tiffany was like doing idol stuff in NorCal forever. She won the J-Pop Summit dance contest that was like judged by the Danceroid girls, like the girls from that were doing that the Miku dance people. But
yeah.
And there's some other idol group they're in now. I actually didn't realize who they were. I've been watching their dance covers for years, and I didn't realize these girls are from Danceroid. And at one point, I was telling Tiffany like we should do an Order to Meet That panel, which has been on the table forever for years. And she's like, "That's the girl who gave me the award." She said that was her profile picture for years, the one where they're like holding up her hands or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, she won the J-Pop Summer Dance Contest and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a celebrity.
Celebrity, yeah. Seems like we've pretty much, been winning it. So is it Molly wins the karaoke all the time.
Oh yeah.
J-Pop Summit Dance Contest.
It's funny because
J-Pop Summit.
It's funny because fun fact, some other people who won the next year was a group that was made up of a lot of people together. I forgot what they were called. And that was like a video we also have on the YouTube channel where it was like Angie, Tiffany, like Heidi, all the Empire girls. Yeah, and then the chick sang, the Garnadelia singer, the Garnadelia singer, she came on and sang with them.
That's right.
Man, we were a lot more fun back
then. That was a good ass time. Like actually, I miss J-Pop Summit so much. It was so good.
I remember the last year at J-Pop Summit, they gave us like 6 or 8 interviews, and we interviewed like everyone. Mm-hmm. I remember we interviewed, and I shouldn't say like, remember we interviewed them because they're still our most watched videos. We interviewed Bandmade, we interviewed Tokyo Gege, which actually is our most viewed video, period. I think it has almost 1 million views on YouTube. So it's like,
good lordy.
And I always say this, thank you, Angie. Because we had so many interviews, I was like, I don't think we should do all these interviews. And Angie was the one who convinced me to do the Tokyo Gege one. I did not want to interview them, not because I didn't think they were good. I just figured they weren't like on brand.
Yeah.
Like we could skip them. Not to say like they didn't deserve it, just that we don't have time. There's only so much time in the week. The weekend, right. It was a 2-day event.
Yeah, no, dude, I forgot about that. It really was 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, and you're out of there.
Yeah, we interviewed Maine that year, and I remember like we there was I think the year before I went to Japan and I tried to interview Maine in Japan, and it was impossible. Like I could not even get my foot through the door. But like we were able to like that when she came to J-Pop Summit. It's just wild how these things work.
Dude, I think about how J-Pop Summit really just brought attention to like so many groups, and just how I don't know, it just felt kind of cozy being there. Like you could just see the groups walking around, and it's very easy to just go up to them and speak to them and stuff like that.
I can't remember the name of this idol group. I have selfies with all the girls like at various points. I can't remember the name of that group. There was an idol group that was there the year before. We were also pressed there. And I remember like they would just walk around all the time. People would just take pictures with them, and they would walk around eating food at all the food vendors. Mm-hmm. And they even came to the stage to watch things. So like people would make space for them at the very front so they could just stand up there, but we're like at the press box and thing area, and like me, Tiffany, and Heidi are like, "Hey, it's so and so." We like backed up and like got a selfie.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the heck the name. It wasn't Little Glee Monster, but it was the year Little Glee Monster was there. There was like 2 or 3 idol groups there that year.
Is it festive?
It might have been festive, actually. I think it was festive. Man, J-Pop Summit was such a good event, and it wasn't, even though it was J-Pop Summit, they had bands. I remember Akabana Vulgars were there. Ginny Oops was there. I can't remember who else was there. Like off the top of my head, obviously we mentioned Bandmade, but Gosharic Spin was there another year.
Yeah.
We interviewed them at Anime Matsuri. Or I shouldn't have mentioned that con, but we interviewed them at a con that we don't mention anymore. Not there though. But there were a lot of fuck, what's the name of that band? There was another really good band the year that before Bandmade. I forgot, there were another all girl band, Silent Siren.
Oh, Silent Siren. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were there the year before too. There was just so many good groups there. I just can't. Yeah, it's sad the event. The last time it happened was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember because we did all the interviews in August and or whenever that was, September, whenever it happened. And I remember I was going to Taiwan and Japan for a month. And like I said, we were so backed up. I remember the last of them came out while I was in Taiwan, and I think I had to have Rose do all the publishing for those because I was like, yeah, I have no internet here, at least not stable enough. Rip. I don't know. We've
good times.
The trick to A to J stuff is that even though we have done stuff in Japan, fun fact, when Bono reformed, Bono is this idol group that's made up of members of C-ute and Barry's Kobo. None of them exist anymore. None of those three I just mentioned exist anymore. But they had this show at Budokan, this huge show. All these people were there, like celebrities and whatever. I remember we saw Hitomi, the head of At Home Maid Cafe, was there in line, and like up until this point, we'd interviewed her like 3 or 4 times, and she recognized Tiffany when we were like going up there or whatever. But we did this interview. We went to go cover the concert, and like even though like technically there was no non-Japanese press, the dude I mentioned that I made a good impression with at Mexico, he got me press there.
Oh shit.
And but because I was kind of last minute addition just on his behalf, they put me on a camera riser, like where the cameras are filming the concert.
Oh yeah.
But whenever there's a huge wide shot of the concert, you could see me sitting on one of the fucking risers.
Really?
Yes, on the DVD of that Budokan concert. I every so often I watch it, but it's awkward to watch because you could like I know where I'm at, so I keep looking for me, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
fuck, man.
Yeah,
like, damn
it.
It's like I want them to release a version that just doesn't show the camera risers. And it's funny because I'm like, I swear, maybe because the way the venue was built out, that particular show, because it had a really long runway, that I'm like, I swear they did not show the risers that much in any other concert, but for some reason I keep seeing them in that one. But yeah, that was did I tell you that was a funny story, because at the end of that one they dropped all these like heart notes that were like, there was one for each member. There were different colors. They looked like it was confetti. If you watch the DVD, you probably can't tell those are big pieces of paper.
From the ceiling?
Yeah, but they were these heart notes or flower notes. I don't know what they were shaped like. But there was these notes that had messages from the members. Mind you, they weren't handwritten. It was just printed. But there was different varieties, and they fell. And a bunch of them landed on the riser, because the riser is this big-ass thing, and it's like above the crowd.
Yeah.
So, and some of them, and like, so I was trying to grab them. Because I'm just there, and I'm like, oh shit, I'll grab some of these for me. And like, I didn't hide them. I had them in my hand. I had a bag too. I could just put them away, but I had them in my hand. And when I met up with the guy later on, he's like, oh, you can't keep those. And I'm like, what?
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I'm like, are you serious? Yeah, it was me too. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, you can't. And mind you, I don't know if the fans were just being really grabby, or they kind of just knew that I was pressed and I probably wasn't going to be allowed to keep them. Maybe they're hearing the conversation. But there were some that were like on my bag or like under my bag, and people were like reaching up into the riser to grab those as they were leaving too. So I saw my opportunities to have any of them like leaving fast, and he's like, you can't take those.
He didn't take them. Yeah.
No, he made me put the stack down. Actually, he made me hand them to someone. So I just handed them to someone, and the fan actually was weirdly nice enough to hand them to other people. But yeah, it was the one moment. I don't think I was being too much of a fan, but it was one of the moments that kind of like changed the way. Remember how I was for years after that, Snakz? And I'd be like, you can't be a fan if you're going anywhere. You can't.
Yeah. That
for
was yeah,
years,
that was a
for
weird
years,
time.
yeah, for years that judged the way I did everything because prior to leaving me on that riser, I didn't tell this part of the story. Prior to leaving me on that riser, he's all like, "You can't cheer, you can't clap, and try not to smile." Like he actually said that. Like try not to look like you're enjoying the concert.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get that I'm supposed to be a professional reporting on this thing, but I can't smile. I can't have a good time after like
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm here as a fan first, you know.
I can get not cheering. I can get not like, yeah, throwing my hands up, but clapping and smiling maybe. Like, come on.
So
But yeah.
dumb.
For years that changed how I used to drill it in everyone's head. I'm like when people will be like, "Oh, I want to cover this. Like, I want to cover the Unchanged concert in Mexico. I want to cover so and so in New York. I want to cover this there." And I'm like, "You can do it, but you can't smile. You can't cheer. You
You
can't
can't
clap."
do anything, man.
Can you imagine
Damn
if I told you that,
shit.
JD?
Dude, there were so many groups were
Well,
coming to the
for what?
US during that time.
For Demon Dice, if you covered anything, I'd be like, "You can't smile. You can't cheer. You can't do anything, JD."
Yeah, and I was right next to the stage too, but I wasn't like on a camera riser or anything.
anyway, but yeah, there were a lot of good shows that were happening. I remember this is a little earlier than that, but Perfume had that first concert around those early A2J days too. It was 2015, if I'm not mistaken. They had their first show here at the in Hollywood, and it was during PMX. I remember it was. Are you okay? You're dying. Snakz is COVID, but no, it was during
It was
PMX.
I think it was November 8th on a Sunday, 2014.
How did you remember? You know the date. By the way, you joking, Terrence? I can tell if you're joking or not. But yeah, apparently you're not supposed to. I don't know if you're joking or not, but apparently you're not supposed to smile, laugh, cheer. I get the cheering part. Well, actually, I don't get the cheering part. I get not doing a fan call, but maybe cheering at the end should be fine, I don't know.
Snacks, just a correction. November 8th, 2014 was a Saturday.
It was November 9th, 2014. Sorry.
It was on a Sunday, yeah.
Yeah,
The
it was
reason
on Sunday. I
because it
know
was the
this
last.
because I went to PMX that Saturday.
Yeah, I remember because it was the last day of PMX, and I didn't want to have to like. I think that was day of my panel, if I'm not mistaken. 2014, day of my panel at PMX. So I think, and I didn't want to book another night at the hotel that PMX was at, the LAX Hilton, because that hotel got expensive after the con. So like, I moved my shit to the hotel next door and stayed there just because that made sense to me to not have to like move back and forth from the concert. Then I went with some friends who were also going to the concert. And then we waited in line for hours or whatever, and not hours, but like an hour or two, and then got inside.
I was there all day.
I didn't wait. I didn't wait all day. When I got there, the line wasn't moving, but when I got there, it started moving. But the line was like around the block. I remember it was like, oh my god,
it was crowded in there. I was shoulder to shoulder where I was. Yeah.
No, and it was funny because like I don't want to speak ill of these other groups or like judge one against the other, but I had went to like Vamps that year, and like Vamps were playing the Roxy, which was a much smaller show, but the Roxy was not full. It was like a third full, and it was just crowding around the thing. And other bands were playing like the Whiskey, other bands were playing shit, I can't remember, the El Rey and whatever. And they weren't filling the venues. But when Perfume, I was like, so I wasn't expecting Perfume to like have this giant draw. And I get they're more mainstream than like Vamps. They're more mainstream than Miyavi was back then. But it still shocked me when I got there and there was a line like literally around the theater. I was like, oh my god.
Yes.
I did not want to wait in that.
Good times. It's always great to see the staff post the videos that they have of the line, like in Fast, and they go all the way around the friggin' block. Oh man. Yeah,
I remember
I missed that concert.
that was a good one. I'm not gonna lie, I like that concert specifically because, like, mind you, other Japanese bands did this too, but like, it wasn't like a show at a thing where they were headlining, but there was like 4 other bands, like, especially when it's a big name. I just want to see them and get the fuck out. It's like I ain't here to like fight for like a decent spot at the front because I was pretty close to the front at the Perfume show.
I don't know how. Fuck, dude. I was literally like Probably because I went to buy merchandise or something, but I was just like, oh god, I was stuffed in the middle.
Well, I don't think I pushed my way through, but I found every gap I could to keep getting closer. And like by the time like the show was starting, I was like third or fourth like deep. So I was really close, even though I got there really late. Like I was the person around the corner at the end.
Jesus.
Also, when I started going to the stage, like it was pretty early when they let us in. People like you were at the merch table, and I'm like,
Wait a second. I remember the photos you took from that
yes,
day. There was a security guard right there. You were freaking close. I remember that.
yeah,
And because you're tall, you're like kind of towering over it, so you can
yeah.
get like those good photos. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure exactly where you were, but I think you had seen my photos. You were like, "You're closer than me,"
Yeah.
and you had been waiting there all day. So it
I
was,
literally was there all day. Yeah. Yeah, I think we made a joke about that. You're like, "Oh yeah, I was the last one in line," and I
yeah,
made it
it
to you.
literally
I'm
was.
like, "Oh my god."
Like I was so far back in the line. I'm like, it makes no difference if I leave. Like I think I did leave for a minute. I went to like the Rite Aid that was like the Rite Aid that's gone now, but that Rite Aid like across the street. I went there to go get like something to eat, like a snack, like a sandwich, and I came back in line and
Mhm.
nobody had added to it. So like I was the end of the line, and I'm like, oh okay. And then it started moving. But yeah, I'm like, I was the last fucking person. And I think if I'm not mistaken, by the time I got in, only like 3 or 4 people were behind me. So everyone either came later or that was it. Yeah, and I still managed to get like really close. That was good times. Good times.
Yeah, that was good, great times. Yeah, yeah, that Rite Aid.
It
I
was
went
that
in
big
there,
Rite Aid.
dude. That was like the place to go to when you ever went to the Palladium, right? Because
Yep.
they had the frickin' ice cream.
They had the ice cream. They had like with the top, like the nice ice cream.
They had the nice ice cream. Yeah,
Because
they did.
Rite Aid in SoCal does have its own ice cream. Like every so often they're like, your Rite Aids have ice cream. Like Rite Aids have Thrifty's ice cream, but this Rite Aid had like a yogurt bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know how it went out of business because holy moly, that place was like always packed,
yeah. It was
man.
always whenever I went, it was always crazy. Like I just think it's the area because even that Amoeba had to move. I think maybe they were just gonna tear that whole area down or put something else. Well, they're not gonna tear it down because it's fucking condos above the Rite Aid. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it couldn't have been cheap rent there, especially if it was at a corner. But yeah, I remember whenever I'd go to that Amoeba, I'd always go to that Rite Aid, for shit.
Man. Oh well. Good
Yep.
times.
Get A to G at Rite Aid.
Yeah, A to J at Rite Aid, man.
But yeah, but Stacks, I wanted to mention this too. Like, it's funny because at the early days, like you mentioned, not writing much. I think you did write a couple things, by the way.
And
I
they
don't
were
think they
all
exist on this.
terrible.
Yeah, I don't. Mind you, there still is a lot of old articles on the site. The site has a weird search function, so good luck finding them. But not to say they're not. I don't want you to, but there are some embarrassing parts of the site. But I did. There was a point when I went through the archives before it got too unwieldy because there's too many things in there where I deleted some articles I didn't like anymore. And I don't think I deleted yours, but I think I did. I don't know if I did. I mean to say,
You
but
the thing was with the stuff that I wrote was that it was like I know they were bad, and I don't think I'd never put in any effort to like make them good. And you were like, just fix this, and I was like, this is what you get.
no, the
And then
funniest part
they're
was
all deleted. Yeah.
there's one article that always sticks in mind because I had this idea for this weekly article, and we did do it for a few months, where every Friday we'd talk about an idol we liked or an album we liked. I think that's what it was. I think it was a Throwback
Yeah,
Thursday one. Actually, never mind.
it's either an album or an idol. Yeah.
And I remember you wrote something about I don't remember her name anymore.
Yeah, Sakai Noriko. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you covered
Yeah.
the second
Yeah. I
album.
remember.
And the funny thing was, it wasn't. It still probably didn't work. I don't remember it that well, but I
It
remember
was so bad.
the problem was like there were parts of it where you were clearly just going off on things.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
But believe it or not, my problem was it was too short. And I remember I told you it was too short. And if anyone's ever been on the site in the past couple of years, Warren used to do these metal retro album covers. Mind you, he did it with much more enthusiasm and pizzazz than you did. So there was a difference. Like you sounded like you didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Oh shit, you're telling me. Oh yeah.
But the funny thing was the length, like his was probably shorter than that one was. But I always think about that now. Like there's nothing wrong with the length. Obviously, get in and out if that's what you want to do. But like, yeah, I'll never forget this. I think that was the last thing you ever wrote. That was the last time I ever asked you to write anything. I was like, yeah, Snakz is useless. Like
This is quite literally the worst thing ever. And I was like, you're right.
and yeah, and there was not to say like there was a period where like you were never like around us, but there was a time where we didn't talk as much. I remember like I want to say 2017 up till about 2019 or so. Like I feel like you've disappeared from a lot of my memories at conventions and shit like that. Like I didn't see you as much, or like we didn't hang around the same circles.
I had been taking a break. I think.
Yeah, is that what happened? Because I don't remember what happened with you. If there was a thing with you, but I remember definitely is a gap in my head where I'm like,
yeah. I mean, it's not like a weird memory. No, it's I had was taking a break because I was just like kind of some stuff had happened and I was like I need to lay low. I can't keep going to conventions and stuff. So yeah, I took a quite a long break. Yeah.
oh, that's crazy.
what
Yeah,
happened.
because I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, what happened there? Because there was, and it was funny because every year, and usually it's the end of the year, because I get very nostalgic, which is kind of why before we went live, I was talking about things about changing the site, like other new things, and I always get excited when we have all these interviews, end of year shit, because I start thinking about things like that. How many times? I think it's every year around the end of the year, I come to you and I'm like, Snakz, you need to rejoin.
You gotta rejoin.
Every fucking year around this time, I keep coming to you for the longest time. And we have this thing about A to J, and I think JD is a perfect current example of this. Like no one joins A to J Connection. So there's a couple, but very rarely does anyone actively like join. They just do one or two things, and then suddenly months later they're doing everything.
Yeah, I talked about this earlier in the stream. I don't know if you saw my text or my message.
JD connections, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's the, and I used to talk about this before. We've also had eras where like certain people are the most powerful. Not power. That's the wrong way to put it. They're the most driven, so they're the ones like leading the current version of A to J Connections. And I do think it's funny because like silent. Distant overlord over here, or sometimes silent distant overlord over here. I do think we're in a JD era, or to be more accurate, I would put JD/Warren era because Warren does push a lot of like other streaming stuff, but JD in general with A to J, I mean. But yeah, we're like in a JD era right now. At various other times, like Molly has been in charge. There was a year when like I can't remember her name, but there was that one girl from the One Idol group. Not Peachy Prey, but Dan2 Dash, like their rivals, ironically enough, who was like basically shadow running A to J Connections for like half a year and shit like that. But it's funny, even though we've had like people come and go, almost every person from those early days is still here, which is the weird part.
The early days.
I think it's nostalgia at this point.
Yeah.
Because there's some people who could start like at the 4th year mark and be all like, yeah, I'm gonna go when things get too crazy. But then we have people like Tipu, who, fun fact, I credited him in the article, even though he's like, don't credit me. He edited the Demon Dice article because like I didn't have time to do it. And I mentioned this to JD already because it was the first time we done the he did an interview for A to J, right? JD, I'm not forgetting anything, right?
You know, that's the first time I did an interview, or the AWA was the first time.
He shows up when it matters.
Yeah, so there weren't issues, but like there's certain like ways that we like format things at A to J, and I was just like, Tipu, can you like do this, like fix this? And not that I think was really wrong with it. I don't want to like make it sound like JD like turned in a bad article or something like that. But he did it all. Tipu did it all. So there's even things like that where it's all like, even though he hasn't been too active, he actually did all the editing. I wrote the wraparound, so I credited myself for that too. But technically, I didn't do any of the editing. He did all the editing on that one, and so yeah, he's still around. Molly's still around. You're still around, even though you had a drop. Tiffany's still around. All the honestly though, I can think of like one person I don't really want to mention who's not around, but everyone else still is. Obviously, like Nathan, but that first year was so weird. I feel weird including people like that.
I feel like it was you had so many panelists rotating in and out during that year because you were like, oh, Greg isn't gonna go with you to like all freaking those conventions, right? You just keep rotating people out.
We did like 2 panels with Greg, Reggie from Tune in Tokyo. Once again, rest in peace. It's sad because like I'm doing this, not to get too weird here, but like we had the last conversation me and Greg had was way earlier on in the year. We were talking about doing panels together again, and basically he was telling me, rightfully so, like I can't really tell you what day I'm free, but if you do a panel and then it's when I'm at, and you tell me what time it is and I'm free, then I could do it, which I think is technically how we did it back then.
Yeah.
When it got accepted recently for ALA, but I was hoping that when we did the 80s J-pop one, which I don't think you went to at PMX because you weren't free that day, it was on day 1. I was hoping that he would do that one with me at ALA. So he obviously can't, but I'm seeing if I can get someone else to do that one with me. I don't know. We settled into like our panel things lately. We definitely have a method to our madness now. Like Rose likes to talk about her horror stuff, and like Tiffany has
established.
Tiffany has got off the deep end with like some of her GAV lore.
Yeah. That was, I don't even know. It's crazy how that panel just even came about, and then it actually happened.
It's happening again. They haven't given us the time. Again. They haven't given us a schedule yet, but the JAV panel, the 80s J-pop panel, which will be different than the one we did at well, both will be different. But the 80s J-pop one, I've already mostly written the ALA version because there's so much music to draw from. I could literally just create a whole new panel each time without too much fuss either, because I have a format. But those two, the metal one and there's a different J-horror one, a generic J-horror one that we're doing at ALA this time, not body horror. That those are our panels, by the way. But yeah, Snakz, how's it been paneling now?
I think that after watching so many panels, watching you do them, because like you said before, I was literally everywhere, right? I was just going to everything. I think that I understand a little better, you know what I mean? I think it's fun. I think I know how to bounce jokes off and when to do it and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's like the best part. Like I've always talked about this before. Like, it's funny because I don't say this as often. Snakz knows, and I'm sure JD is realizing. I'm sure I told him at some point, but I don't tell this with as many other people. If you let me talk, I'll keep talking, and not so much because and not so much because I kind of like to keep talking, or that too. But it's not so much that I just want to keep talking. It's that like I'm deathly afraid of like letting someone else of letting someone else fill the gap, and they don't.
Yeah.
So, if you want to say something, cut me off.
A couple times. That's happened a couple times.
I'm always scared. Yeah, I'm always scared. Like, hey. There was one time at ALA 2020, and I think it was an idol panel. I forget which one, where like it was me, Tiffany, and Angie doing it. And I remember like I tried to throw a comment to Angie, like, "Oh, haha, what do you got to say about this?" And she looked at me, got up, and got me a bottle of water because that's why I told.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is during the panel. There's people watching us.
Yeah.
She got up and got me and I was kind of confused why she got up. I thought she had to get up to do something, to like have a joke, but no, she got up to got me water, handed it to me, and sat back down. And we're all like, huh? Like, no, I wanted you to talk about so and so or whatever the joke.
Literally thought that you had asked her or something like that to do that. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay.
So yeah, there's things like that I'm always scared will happen at panels. Oh man. I'm probably gonna. It's funny because we filmed most of them. I didn't film any of them this year for reasons. Like at Fanime, I broke a camera. Remember that? I broke a camera at Fanime. That was it was actually so nerve wracking because I broke the camera and I didn't realize that the audio thingy was fucking up, and so all my audio this year has been corrupted. I ended up recovering most of it recently, but like that's why so many interviews were all scuffed this year because I'm like I have half of this, half of that. I only had one camera for Fanime. Nonsense. But yeah, I gotta film panels again and put them somewhere. I'll probably make most of those Patreon exclusive, not because I want them to be or have an excuse for it, but I like recording them because it's like a nice little time capsule. I wish I could put them everywhere, but they always get copyright claimed eventually somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what the panel is on, they'll find a way to get it. Even if it's not really a music-based one, but so many of them are. That's the issue. Like there are times when we do we do the Edoguno or the horror one, and I'm like, there's so little playing, and you can't fucking see the screen. Like literally, I try to show the screen because it's 18+, but somehow the garbled audio you can hear in the video, it'll be caught, and they'll be all like, "Oh, you showed so and so from this movie." Like we're blocking. I don't care if they take the money. I can care less. But like. But I couldn't care less. But it's funny because like what they'll do is they'll block it worldwide, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fucked. No one can see it now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But are you excited to do the JV panel again at ALA?
I'm actually pretty scared about that. If I'm not lying. Yeah, I am. I don't even know what to say. I feel like PMX went well because it was tiny.
Yeah.
This is much different.
It's funny because at PMX we like filled the room, but it was a small room. So like by filling the room, we had like 25, 30 people there. I don't know, probably a little more than that, but less than 50 for sure. And I'm not sure what room they're gonna give us for ALA, but just by the title, it'll probably be, I don't know if we'll fill it, but just by the title alone, it's gonna be way more people. And so yeah, way more people in a bigger room at a bigger convention. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe I should talk to Kaho, see if she can be on it. We'll tone down some parts, and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to be on it?" And you could just talk shit. I don't care if she talks shit because now she's kind of at that point. Well, she's not talking shit, but she's a little more critical of her time with JAV. And hey, I don't care. We can talk shit too. Like, but we're also going to show piss porn.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like, fuck. People are gonna remember my face and gonna be like, "Oh, that's the vomit panel guy."
So you're gonna be,
huh?
So you're gonna be talking about stuff that comes out of both holes down there.
Yeah, exactly. People are gonna be like, "Oh," and I knew it. I know these fucking people recognize me because, like, the day we did the panel, and then the day after at PMX, people were like walking near me and looking at me, and I'm like, "Oh shit."
When we went to the maid cafe, we all went up because Kali wanted to go to the maid cafe, so we all went to the maid cafe the next day, and I'm waiting in line with everyone else, and I'm like, "Hey, I want a free sticker from this little like booth thingy they have like at the entrance." And when I get closer to the booth, she's like, "It's you." the maid.
That's right. She's like, "It's you."
And it was one of the girls who was at the JAV panel the night before. Oh man, out of both holes. Yeah, like let's yeah, it's funny because I've already decided I'm gonna go a little harder. Not harder, but basically like the stuff I was gonna show the first time I got scared. I'm gonna show it all at the ALA one.
Manuel shows it all at ALA.
Oh yeah, that sounds weird.
You're gonna show it all at ALA.
But it's gonna be a crazy panel. You're gonna, I don't know, like maybe it's seeing it with people, but even me, like I couldn't watch it in the hotel room. I couldn't watch the shit in preview in the hotel room. I was gagging. I couldn't edit it because I was like gonna vomit just by watching it. But watching it with people for some reason was fine. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, you were just kind of like, "Hey, take a look at this, and I'm like, "I do not want to look at that right now."
No one cared. No one, like, I was expecting some people to like start gagging, someone to vomit, someone to leave.
There was like a couple people who were like looking away. Yeah. There was a girl in the front who was like
There was one guy who was really into the entire panel. Remember him? the dude who had who knew the titles and the actresses to even
that he shows up at ALA, so
hope so,
call
too.
him out again. That fucking guy. He was like, I was like, yeah, it's weird. They cover themselves in like silver or gold. He's like, it's supposed to be like representing the fact that you can fuck a statue. And I was like, why do you know that?
Because
What the?
he apparently knows the whole series. Remember that?
Yeah, he was saying something about, oh, you forgot about her most famous series where they shove the shit up her nose, and I'm like, oh my god.
Not that this isn't brilliant conversation, but
We should start rapping.
yeah.
That's fine. I was getting ready to segue to the ending, which is awesome.
We were like, oh yeah, this is like some of the final stuff she did, and he was like, see, you didn't go over the masterpieces, okay? You know, this series, and it was literally about their fucking enema up her nose, and I'm like, oh my god.
He actually, I'm not joking. Like, Snakz isn't exaggerating. He actually said that, and I was like, what? I'm really confused. I kind of want to see it just because I'm curious.
So just enthusiastic. He's like, you guys forgot the best part, man. And I was like, why is that a good thing?
Throughout the whole panel, like there were little things that I didn't think they were that, and they really weren't that important. Like we'd mention certain girls, and I would mention like, oh, I think she did this too. He's like, oh yeah, she did. It was with so and so company. Like he would know like little factoids about every random person we were talking about.
Like I kept calling him out too. I'm just like, no, I don't want to hear whatever you want to say, you freaking degenerate.
Was that guy? Apparently, if you're a GAV expert, because he knew everything. He was like. I don't want to throw her into the bus like this too, but like Tiffany, I think is surprisingly the most versed out of all of us on the JV front.
Oh, yeah.
It's in between like the three of us, me and Snakz and her, and part of me was all like, I feel like Tiffany and him should do a panel, should do the JV panel together. That would be the most.
You can talk forever, dude.
But that would be the most degenerate panel too. It'd be like nothing but enemas everywhere.
That guy was just really I couldn't believe it. He's like, yeah, it's on my computer. You fuck a statue. And I was like, oh my god.
He said that he's because I had a picture, by the way, just to keep going into the statue thing. I know we're wrapping up, JD, don't worry. I had a picture that I just found. I'm like, because I don't know where, like, remember the statue porn? We didn't say statue porn because we didn't know that yet. We didn't know it was supposed to be a statue. Yeah, when they paint the girls. So I found a picture. I didn't know who the fuck the picture was. I just found it and I put it in there. And literally the slide said, "And whose fantasy is this?" ? And when we got to that, he's all like, I didn't know who the girl was. I didn't really know what the genre was. I just thought it was weird because I keep seeing that every so often. Because JAV is weird where like a lot of it's just mixed everywhere. Not just sites, but if you go to a store for porn, it's not really separate. Well, it is separated, but like it'll still be in there. Like you can't go to a mainstream porn store here and see scat, but there it's just on the shelves right next to like all the other porn. But yeah, so he knew everything about it. That was just insane. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. Anyways, come to ALA. We'll be doing these panels there, and others. And I'm the state.
I'm
gonna title one of the slides to that. I'm gonna try to find that nose enema one because it sounds weird. And see, I'll ask Tiffany. She probably knows all about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's wrap this up. And what was your favorite? What was your funnest moment of A to J connections out of the past 8 years, Snakz?
Shoot, what was my most favorite moments? I would honestly, it all comes down to J-Pop Summit because I feel like all of the nonsense that we talk about, all the shit, the dumb stuff always happens during J-Pop Summit, right?
Yeah, we didn't even tell. We didn't even
bugs.
Exactly. I was gonna say we didn't even tell the stories. We stayed at we roomed together. Several of the J-Pop summits. I think all the ones that were A to J related, and so we have stories about those.
Yeah.
When I wouldn't let you sleep.
Yeah, I couldn't go to sleep. The air conditioner had to be on like -1 and just
no, I literally would not let him sleep. When he started sleeping, like, because I'm like, you can't go to sleep till I do, and I kept hitting him whenever he was falling asleep. Like, stop! Like, you can't sleep. I don't know why.
All that stuff happened at J-Pop Summit. It was a good time. Good times.
Anyway, I'll definitely choose that too. At least as far as with Snakz goes, because I have too many memories to like really pick one anyway. So yeah, those are fun. Those are fun times. So we'll wrap this up next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I think we'll have Tiffany on. Fun fact, I was talking to her about being on for some other end of year stuff, and honestly, I thought it'd be fun to have all of us on this one, but I'll be real. I was just like, then I have to find something for next week, so I just split you guys up. Which makes more sense for the show at the very least, and for my sanity, because ALA is in 5 weeks.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, we had to. Thank God I already started on some of the panels already, and some of them we're just doing again, and one of them Warren's writing. But yeah, we have to start everything again. 5 weeks. 5 weeks exactly from tomorrow. 5 weeks from tomorrow, I will be on my way to the con. So yeah. Nope, don't want to think about that. Anyways.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday will be another anniversary. We're not, and if I will be anniversary, it'll be just end of year stuff that we're gonna start wrapping up because we're ending the year. Like some of the big stories that we didn't cover, all that the same shit we do every year. But I have some good ones for this year. I've already been thinking about, and just watch for that. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/ADJconnections. If you were a patron, you would have seen that Demon Dice interview that's been doing numbers. We actually had that done for like a month now. It was just stuck in limbo for reasons, but you could have seen that like before anyone else did. And even some early versions of it, because like I think I posted it a very early version, and then Tipu edited from that. So yeah. Anyway, that's that. Tomorrow we'll be playing Wild Arms. There's no D&D this Friday because fucking Warren's going to LA Comic Con, and next Tuesday's that, and yeah, that's it. Hopefully we're wrapping up Wild Arms 2 soon. I want to wrap up Wild Arms 2 before the year's done. I think we could do it because we're almost
at the game anyway. Yeah. So
it just like I don't want this to be a 2. I mean, mind you, we kept stopping, but I don't want it to be a 2-year project. So yeah. Anyways, that's that. Peace out. Love you all. Hopefully we have another 8 years of A to J. So we'll see.
Here's to another 8 years of nonsense.
Yep. A to J has to hit 21 years. After that, I don't care because A to J has to get old enough to drink.
Yeah. Shit. God damn.
All right.
we did. Okay. Well, that's that. Peace out. Thank you for watching. Good night. Like, comment, subscribe.
Good night, everyone.